Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. Welcome. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers, this is a redux of the fourth pillar of Islam, energy. This is like a supplement to the first one. The primary reason is I got a little questions or concerns about the previous one in regards to the opposition to the idea of energy. Now, when I did the first one, like I went a little different than I did the other five, because other five I point out the opposition to that particular pillar. Like for instance, consequence, religion, right? Salats, alcohol, right? The Hajj or harmony, democracy. But this one, I use the effects, and the reason I did that because the way in my explanation, I reference how to eat to live. And I was talking about how why not adjust your eating habits, like instead of eat 3 times a day, so forth, because that implies gluttony, and to get away from that, to maximize your energy. So I didn't address that directly as an enemy to fasting, because I kind of addressed it in the explanation. So I use the effects. For instance, one aspect, if you're gluttonous, then you're going to use other people's energy. Well, that's slavery. Or you're going to lay around. Well, that's part of slavery too, because you lay around, other people do the work for you. So there's a consequence of that. So in this case, I'm just going to go directly to it, like the other ones, be consistent, because I got a little, a little pushback. People say, oh, they kind of a little confusion there. So I'm going to be consistent with the other ones. Not that that one was wrong. It's just my approach was different, so I should remain consistent. So understanding that, let's move on. So this is an example. See, the larger one, that's mass. The smaller one, that's mass. But one is more mass, it's massive. One's less mass. So the equation for force is mass times acceleration. Remember, each one of these principal pillars are based on force, which is consequence, which on one side equal signs, on the other side equal signs. That's force, right? So this is just another representation of force, because the remaining four pillars all rest on the primary pillar. That's consequence. All the other ones are just different variations of it, or different reflections of it, right? It's like water, right? Water has 3 particular characteristics that most people know about. It can be flowing, it can be steam, or it can be ice. It's still water. So the 5 pillars of Islam, they're all based on consequence, just different perspectives of it. So the equation is, here. The equation is mass times acceleration equals force. Now mass is just how much. It's how much. It's called a scalar. It's just the much. Like if you say acceleration equals egg, right? Egg, right? How many eggs you have? Or with mass would say 5. It's just a number. So on the other side you have 5 eggs. See, if you say 10, you say mass equals 10. Then you say egg equal acceleration is equal egg. Other side you have 10 eggs. Still eggs. So acceleration and force is the same thing. The other side is just a total amount of acceleration you're talking about. How much acceleration you're talking about. And that's how much mass you have. See? So if it's like you have a big Mack truck, you have a Volkswagen Beetle, right? Okay? If they're moving at the same speed, right, that means the impact is going to be much greater for the Mack truck than it will be for Volkswagen Beetle. And they move both moving 60 miles an hour, right? A Big Mac truck, he's moving 60 miles an hour. Volkswagen Beetle moves 60 miles an hour. If they hit a wall, the Mack truck have much more force than the Volkswagen Beetle. They're both cars, right? The mass is how big. How big? That's all. That's all mass represents. Scalar. Because actually, when they talk about mass in mathematics and physics, mass is just is in mass is energy too. There's no, they think it's something different. No, because you can convert Einstein's so-called equation E equals mc squared, right? So he said you convert mass to energy because mass is energy. It's just a different form of energy. Okay. Understanding that. So we're going to use that to explain what fasting is because we're going to say mass represents how much food you're eating, like a substance, because food is energy also. How much food, how much, see, acceleration is energy, just pure energy. So mass is a relation between mass and energy, because that's why you eat food to get energy. See the connection? That's how you eat food to get energy. Mass times acceleration, right? Okay, equals force. Force is just energy. Okay, understand that. So, uh, okay, let's do it this way. Now, the whole thing about fasting, that pillar, remember, the primary pillar is consequence, and all the other four pillars rest on that one because all of them are still aspects of that first one. So we eat. So fasting is about, eating, right, and not eating. So if you go in, say for instance, the normal practice in the West is eating 3 meals a day. So what you're doing is eating, say you're eating 400 calories in the morning, 400 calories in the afternoon, and 400 calories in the evening. Well, that's 1,200 calories you eat in a day, right? Okay. But remember, force times acceleration. Okay. So if you eat, so if the force is 1,200, okay, for a day, right? But you eating 400 in the morning, so that'd be if the force is 1,200 per day. So you break it up to 400 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, 4 in the evening. So that's 12. So that means in the morning, right? Then that means now you got 4, right? So um, so that means your energy is going to be 1 because you're breaking your force up into 4 parts. So that means you're going to have a force of 400 in the morning, a force of 400 in the afternoon, a force of 400 in the evening. So that means your energy is going to be, when you eat in the morning, your energy is going to be 1. Because 1 times 400 equals 400. You add them up, you get 1,200. So every time, so in the afternoon, your energy is going to be 1. Evening energy is going to be 1. Okay? So, but if you took and say, okay, I'm going to eat 1,200 just in the evening, just 1,200 in the evening, see, then at the evening, right, your energy is going to be 1. But during the day, right, your energy is going to be 12. See, you got to put a 1 there because energy, because your body is going to be, if you're not eating anything, your body's going to take energy, going to take reserve energy from yourself. So that means you're going to have, in the evening, your energy is going to be low because you're eating now, all at one time, so your energy is going to be 1. But during the day, because you're not eating anything, it's going to be 12 all day long, except in the evening. So if you take and go and say, I'm eat 24, number is 12, but say that's how many calories you eating, 1,200. So now you go even further, because remember you was taking 400 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, 4 in the evening, but your energy was low because you was eating 4, because it had come out to 12. So 400 times 1 is 400, plus 400 times 1 is another 400. So 1 is the amount of energy you have. 400 is the amount of calories you're taking in. But now you're taking in 1,200 altogether at one time a day. That means in the morning, evening, your energy is going to be up to 12, because it'll be 12 times 1. It's going to be 1,200 rather, right? Because you're saying 12, because you're not eating anything. But now if you say, I'm going to eat 2,400 every other day, you're still eating the same amount of calories, because if you're eating 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, 4 in the evening, and then next day doing the same thing in 2 days, that means altogether you ate 2,400 calories. But if you say, okay, I'm eating 2,400 calories every other day, you're still getting the same amount of calories you was getting before. But what happens? That means for 5 periods, no, one day you didn't eat anything. So your energy level is up to 24, well, up to 1,200 all day long. And it's up 1,200 all day long. The next day is up from morning and afternoon, 1,200. And then it still goes down to, right? Because now you're eating, so now it goes down to 1. So now you use that time to go to sleep or whatever. So you don't need it. You may sleep a little harder. Or say you go 36 every 3 days. Now your energy level's up 1,200 constantly all day the first day, all day second day, and then 2/3 of the third day. That's how you maximize your energy. That's what fasting does for you. That's the master behind it. See, because the more you eat, the slower you move. That's why you see those balls swinging. See, that's a representation, because what you're doing is you're seeing that the blue one, right, has low mass. It's lower mass. See, structure is also mass, so it has less structure. So therefore, it's moving faster, so it moves further, it moves faster. But the black one has higher mass, higher density, so it has a much stronger structure, so it moves slower. And that's the knowledge that went into Yaku's creation, because what they did is that since we suffer energy deprivation, we didn't have enough energy to maintain ourselves, right? Or just enough. So we didn't have energy to maintain civilization, to maintain a tribe, to maintain civilization, maintain any kind of organization. So what he did was he took, and we've been the Lamborghinis, he took and created a stripped down version, right? A Volkswagen Beetle. It didn't need as much energy, lower structure, less mass. See? So the energy we got in, you understand, everyone received the same amount of energy. The earth produced so much energy per day. The earth produces so much energy per day. Like the Quran says, it's momentous in the heavens and earth, but coming of a sudden. See, that's proof that earth is the center of the universe, but I'm not going to go into that. But the earth receives energy every 50 years. Earth receives this big wave of energy, because all the universe, all the energy you see out there used to be, as the Quran tells you, used to be the atmosphere of the earth. But we took it all out there because gave form. It was not, formless energy, right? We gave it form, stars, galaxies, constellations. We did that, right? 76 trillion years worth of work you see out there. So now, but as a process that, there was less energy on the earth. And so we got to a point of energy deprivation. We had less energy, and so we have enough to actually maintain ourselves. So around 1880, we got the first energy wave, because the universe started contracting now. So now we bring energy back, and we got the first positive energy wave around the 1860s, which broke our physical change. We got another one 50 years later, broke our mental change with Farad and Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey, those type of figures, and the beginning of Elijah Muhammad, right? And then 50 years later, we broke our social change with so-called civil rights movement, that kind of stuff going on. And now we 50 years later from that, do the math, we're breaking all chains. So the earth absorbs this energy. That's why it says momentous in the heavens and earth, but it coming all of a sudden. That means it comes to the earth, as earth absorbs it, it converts it to a form we can use. And that's what's happening right now. See what I'm saying? So the thing is during that 6,000 year period of the transition between the expanding universe and the contracting universe, it takes the universe expands and contracts. So in the process of expanding, right, Okay, when it expanded, now it's reversing the contraction. Was a 6,000 year transition period to go from the transition from the phase expanding to the contraction cycle. The contraction cycle means this energy is coming back. Expansion cycle means energy going away. But the transition, 6,000 years, during that period of time, right, we were suffering energy deprivation. So he says, okay, we need a new ruler in the earth because black people can't rule right now because they have energy deprivation. So they created a stripped down, Dr. Yakub created a stripped down version of us that didn't need as much energy. So that means they had the power to rule. That's why I said, let's make Adam, he'd be weak, make mischief and shed blood. But he had power to rule. He had energy to rule because he's a Volkswagen Beetle. He doesn't need that much energy. He just need a garage. He just need to pay high insurance. He don't need expensive tires and stuff. See? So if we make the same amount of money, all my money's tied up in that Lamborghini. I can't do anything with it. It's parked in the garage all the time. Maybe I might take that on Sundays. But the Volkswagen Beetle's up and around all the time. But it doesn't take much. You don't need high test gas, anything, the regular gas, so forth. That's the idea behind Yakub's creation. But it's a stripped down version. And in a collision with a Lamborghini, that Volkswagen Beetle is going to be crushed. And so as the universe contracts, more energy is coming, the energy increases the pressure, and at some point, Yakub's creation cannot withstand the pressure. Because remember, they have weaker structure, they have the same much energy, but they won't be able to stand. That's what's going on right now. That's why they're under such stress was increasing. They're going to war because they're being crushed because they cannot withstand the pressure. And in 6,000 years, they can a window to rule in. So that's the idea behind. They use the same wisdom here that came into use to bring into his creation, mass time acceleration. So he'd be weak, but he'd be powerful because he has an excess energy. It's like a budget, right? Okay, if your budget is if you make a certain amount of money, but your expenses is greater than the amount of money you're making, you got a very tight budget. You walk a tightrope. But if you got a lot more money than your budget requires, you got a lot of money to work with. You can do all kinds of stuff. See, so you don't worry about your budget too much. You take your budget knocked out, now you got all stuff excess. Call it what do you call it? Excess income, right? See, but if you don't have enough, and you got a budget, and your income, right, is less than your budget, your expenses, you got a problem. That's the problem we had. See, that's the problem we had because everybody gets the same amount of energy. The problem we had is that our requirements, right, our expenses, we didn't have enough income to cover our expenses. And they did. So that gave them the power to rule. Understand? So this is what's going on with this particular pillar, fasting, mass time acceleration. So you can maximize your energy by eating 1 meal a day, 1 meal every other day, 1 meal every 3 days. And we see how that connects with the other ones. And so I just went directly, I just said, on the right side is our enemy's response to the 5 pillars. Why? Because those 5 pillars affect, see, that's our creation. This is our creation. This is our nature. The 5 pillars is the nature, is our nature. That defines our nature, the 5 aspects of our nature. See, the mental, right? Well, it defines the 5 acts because that's our nature you're talking about there. When you understand it, you're studying our nature, right? Remember, their nature came from our nature, but theirs weaker. It's still the same structure. It's still a car, right? A Volkswagen Beetle is still a car, but it's a weaker car, right? But still a car. It still has 4 wheels, has an engine, same thing, but it's a weaker one. See? So the thing is they can't see. They have a weaker engine and everything else. They can't follow our structure. I mean, they can't. No, they no. But in other words, they're not strong enough to apply the same rules. In other words, in Lamborghini, all these kind of accessories, they don't have those accessories. See, so you need a lot of energy to maintain a Lamborghini. You don't need much energy to maintain a Volkswagen Beetle. So on the right is how they answer those 5 aspects about nature. Because they can't think mathematically. They're analytical people. They can't think mathematically. So the answer is religion. They get you off the mathematical. That's their attack. It's also their nature, but it's also their attack against us. See? So instead of consequence, they go religion, which no mathematics involved. See? Just belief. See? That's the first one. No mathematics involved. No logic, no reason. Or every religion out there has no logic, no reason, no math to it. Not one of them. That's how you know it's religion. Because as soon as they hit you with it, you just got to believe it. So what makes one religion any different than the other one? They can't prove any of it. None of them can prove any of the stuff talked about, and none of them has produced anything, nothing. There's nothing you can show. You can't show me a car they all talk about prayer. You can't show me a car that's moved by prayer, that's powered by prayer. You can't show me a TV or anything that's powered by prayer. You can't tell me you can't point out anything in existence that any religion has produced. Everything you see, right, is powered by energy, or but that's what's mathematics, or it's mathematics. This computer operates off mathematics. Your car operates off mathematics. Your car is mathematics. It's engineering. That's mathematics. There's nothing. If this religion is supposed to be your religion is supposed to be your reality, right? It's supposed to be God, your reality. But yet it still doesn't produce anything. It produces nothing. It should be producing more powerful than mathematics. We should have things that run for prayer, right? We should have, religion should be some kind of industry that's producing something. Nothing, because they're illusions that the caveman mind came up with because it can't it can't, it can't, it can't operate on the level of consequence, of level of mathematics. That's why I said they have no fear of garbage before their eyes. That means they have no fear of consequence. They have no understanding of it. Okay. So I'm not going into my details, but I've talked about it in the previous ones. And then torque, right? That's firming up your heart. See? But they can't do that. See? It removes fear. It makes you steadfast. See? So their answer is drugs. Because their heart is fearful and it's weak, so they're more fearful. They're the most fearful people on the planet. So the only way they can counter that, they take alcohol. See, or other kind of drugs, right? To mask it. It doesn't firm your heart up. It masks it. Like we take anesthesia, right? It doesn't take away the pain, you just don't feel it. The pain is still there, right? In other words, the way they do it now, you just don't remember it. Because I had a surgery, and I found afterwards, because I had to have it double surgery, and they told me that I was awake during the first one. I said, "What you mean I was awake? I wasn't awake." He said, "Yes, you was." He says, "Just a drug they give you, you just don't remember it." So you went through that trauma, so they paralyze you, so you can't move, right? And you go through that trauma, right? And you feel all of it, but you don't so remember it. Now, what kind of madness is that? Go check it out. I didn't believe it. I said, I didn't want to go to the second one. I told me the first. I said, man, because I said, I know when when I feel, I'm saying, man, what did I do this for? And then I just don't remember it. That's insane. You know, a long time ago, when they first came out of anesthesia, back in the beginning of the last century, they used to operate on babies with no anesthesia, and the baby hollering, crying like mad. Check it out, crying like insane because the baby feel like bitter. But they said it's okay because the baby's not gonna remember it. Excuse me, these people are insane. No, the baby's not remember it, but still mess their psyche up. So next day he grows up, right, and he's killing people. He's raping and killing people, doing all kinds of crazy stuff because it's still got in it's still a psyche, messed up the psyche. These people are insane, you know. So anyway, it just masks it. So it doesn't firm your heart up. But that's the answer, to cover their fear. That's why I use alcohol to cover their fear. Because they're very fearful people. Because they don't use torque. See, they can't recite, right? They don't have, Then currents, right? That's the attack on that, right? Which is charity or zakat, right? It's capitalism. Instead of giving, right? Maintain your balance and take all you can get, take all you can get, take all you can get. Which result as military, police, army. Because when you take it, then you have to, just like if you take two forces and pull them together, if you take one person, you got one person on one side, one person on the other side, you got a rope, and they pulling, and you pull against them. So you got to, so you keep pulling until you bring it together. And once you bring it together, you got to keep exerting the same force to keep it together that took to get it together. It means you got to maintain it. Otherwise, they're going to pull it back. And if another person joined them, now you got two. It's even harder, right? It's harder. But once you get it, this, you want to maintain it there, you got to use the same amount of, apply the same amount of force to keep it there as it took, right, to get it there. That's what armies and police is for, because they've taken from everybody. So you need armies to make sure people don't get it back. And that means they got to spend energy to keep it. That's what police forces. They took everything from us. The police, there was no police, there was no even idea of place, no place on the planet before so-called slavery. And that's what police came out of that, because they make sure we don't get back what they took from us. They have to use energy to keep it. But so now it's harder and harder and harder, because as we get stronger, it's harder and harder, because there's like 2 or 3 more people pulling. Then it's harder and harder to pull it. So as we get stronger, it's more, that's probably more energy. That's when they want to defund the police and everything else, because it's so hard, right, to keep us down. See? And then you got these brothers and sisters, right? They're waking up and they got this energy, but they're like a blind elephant. They got this energy, and now they pan up everything. See, because now they don't know these 5 pillars, and so they don't know how to use their energy. So now they don't realize they're walking a tightrope. They fall off every day, fall off into death, falling off into prison, falling off into drugs. They falling off. They keep falling off the rope, tightrope, because we're on a tightrope. This will make you walk a tightrope, and you won't even think about it. See, so that's what capitalism. But capitalism take off. But if you have that, that means you got to use some force to keep it. And the maximum capitalism is profit. Profit is the maximum um, um, achievement in capitalism, which means slavery. That means you have no overhead. You take everything, you give nothing back. So that's where those things come out of this. All this stuff is in the sealed Bible. All these concepts are in the sealed Bible. Sealed Bible was from Yaqub. That was to keep, for him to build his civilization. The sealed Bible was given him to build his civilization. The sealed Bible was given him to, given his people. That's said. Let's make Adam, make a new rule in the earth. That's what it's talking about in the Quran. So the old sealed Bible was a scripture given to them to build their civilization for 6,000 years. The sealed Bible. At the end of it, in the sealed Bible was the seal. In the sealed Bible was the unsealed Bible, right? They're talking about Revelation and Daniel. That will be broken, ignited at the end. That will blow away the civilization of the sealed Bible. Blow it away. Like a thermonuclear bomb. I keep talking about it. You have a fission bomb that's based on pulling atoms apart, and you got a fusion bomb, and the fusion bomb is in the center. And it takes the fission bomb to ignite it. So that's what it is. That fission bomb that Prophet Jesus ignited 2,000 years ago gave them power, and they came, and there's so much power. We're right at the center of it. But all that pressure they put us under, fusion, see, put so much pressure, fuse together, force our unity. It forced our unity. And then boom, the explosion as a result blows away all, everything else, the fission and everything else, blows all, whole thing away. So we use it to our benefit. That's why we allowed Dr. Yaqub to come along. We gave him the scripture, the sealed Bible, right? All these concepts in there. All these concepts in there. Democracy, capitalism, all that stuff is in there. Drugs, all that stuff is in there. Religion, all that stuff is in there. Okay. So then we get to energy. The answer to that is basically, right? Like I said, you get slavery, you add slavery and leisure out of that, but the bottom line is gluttony. That's what I say. Instead of fasting, eat. They tell you, man, I see when I go to the gym, hey man, I gotta eat so I get some more energy. That's backwards. Oh man, the more I eat, right? I gotta eat breakfast. See, they're totally opposite. I can eat breakfast. You know, they think that gives them more energy. It doesn't. It actually makes them weaker. But then in the morning they get up, they fresh, they're ready to go. Then they eat breakfast and they're ready to go back to sleep. Then they got to drink coffee. They got to take some chemicals. See, and that's why you suffer in this country. They suffer from diabetes and obesity and everything else, because that's the answer. See, because all these things have a negative effect. Because now, like I said, in capitalism, now they got to have a police force. They got to pay for that. And now it costs more and more and more because they need more and more police. Then remember, they start bringing military stuff in to keep the black folks down. That's what it's for. They don't want to say it that way. That's what it's for. There will never be no police force in the hereafter. But that's what it's to keep it, you know. So then they bring more police to get more aggressive. Now they train over in false Israel, right? They won't tell you all of that. See? So, and it's getting harder and harder and harder, right? And then drugs, right? Looking at the opioid problem, see? Because they're under more pressure, they need to do more of this. They need to do more of what they're doing, you see? Because now we're getting stronger. So now capitalism out of control. They're spending like crazy, you see? Now gluttony, right? Everybody's eating more than America's the most obese country on the planet, right? And look at debt and everything else for capitalism, right? And drugs, opiate problem they have now, and religion. Now, or religion, they don't, with crazy religion, religion attacking each other, you see? And then democracy, right? Now they're fighting each other about democracy and everything else. It's getting worse and worse and worse, but that's the answer to the 5 pillars. But they have to have an answer because they still have the same structure we have, right? The basic structure, they're still cars. If I'm, a Volkswagen Beetle is still a car like a Lamborghini. It's a stripped down version, but it's still a car. So they still have a human structure. They like to say they have our structure, they have our form without our substance. They have our form without our substance. So therefore they have to have answer to those different aspects of our creation. That's their answer. Hajj is total. The Hajj is harmony. Harmony. All ethnic groups and everything moving in sync, right? No confusion, no collisions, no pressure. It's just the opposite. Everybody doing their own thing, fighting, conflict. See, and it's getting worse and worse now. The democracy is worse than America's ever been. They can't trust the election anymore. Everybody's fighting with each other. It's getting worse and worse on the side because they're being crushed. They're being crushed. And when we set that first principle consequence, everything on the right side goes away. Religion, drugs, capitalism, government, all stuff disappears once we accept consequence because all that stuff disappears. And then we can apply the other ones. And then consequence gives you the incentive to do the other ones. You do torque, see? And torque, right? See, gives you, then the other ones connect all to that because torque, right? Gives you firm, keeps you upright, right? See? But then you got currents, right? Winds blowing on you, hurricane kind of stuff. So that was currents coming as a zakat, right? Where you eliminate that your sense of balance and therefore you eliminate all those hurricanes and tornadoes keep popping up suddenly in your life. Don't tell me those things suddenly don't cut me like come in. I got them more control now. My weather system is very good. It went off a little bit with that $1,400 stimulus. Everything pays, bro. It went off a little bit. I got man, some winds blew up and everything and shook the house a little bit, right? I knew what was going on, so I let that pass. I got tightened up, right? So now it's gone. See, but those winds and hurricanes come in life. You create those things. See, and if you wobble when you got torque, then you walk firm, and then and your mind, you get your mind back because now you can distinguish between your heart is firm, so now you can distinguish between your thoughts and other people's thoughts. But if you ain't doing that now, you're confused because you don't even know who your thoughts, because you don't know who you are, because your thoughts is what's the word? It's all confused with everybody else's thoughts because you're picking up everybody else's heart vibrations. That's where your thoughts come from. See, and you're picking up everybody, so you don't know. So now you know what gender you are. You know that's why you see all that confusion. That's why you get all this stuff about gender and all that kind of stuff, right? Because they're going on drugs. So therefore, the mind's all confused because they don't know who they can't distinguish between their thoughts and everybody else's. Like you're in a crowded room, everybody's talking. So you say, be quiet, I can't hear myself think. Same thing. You're picking up everybody else's thoughts. See? So now all of a sudden nobody can know who even gender they are. See, that shows confusion because drugs is not helping. You need talk. And now it's like confusion gradually goes away, right? Currents. All of a sudden, boom, you start doing that, getting rid of all that garbage you got in your house, all the stuff you got, right, that you don't need. Now all of a sudden, all the wins, right, you ain't taking more, you ain't got to playing the lottery, and all of a sudden you hit for $10,000, all of a sudden now you got all this craziness in your life. You don't have all that. Now you got nice, calm climate. Nice, calm climate. See, once you get that under control, see, once you understand these 5 pillars, what they do for you. See, one, talk clears your thought. See, firms your heart, clears thought, take fear away. See, that's what talk does. Reciting the Quran, zakat. You know, starts taking, giving, being nice to people, not talking about devils and demons, right? But because that's every time you do something, it's cost. It pays, everything costs. So you do be something nice, you're giving something, right? They should give some return. Assalamu alaikum back. That's what I tell you. So now all these hurricanes, stuff that's popping up, now it's quiet. See, now it's quiet. See, all this conversation stuff, now it's quiet. Because you imagine these things now. You imagine your life. You're becoming the God. Because you can't become the God if you can't manage, right, your creation, right, your heaven, right? Then energy. You got to have energy to do all these things. The more energy you have, the more you can do these things. If you don't have energy, you can't do this. Even if you want to do them, you don't have the energy to do it. See? So do the fasting, get your energy up, right? And then finally Hajj, right? Okay, that is, right, peace. In other words, you got all this conflict all around democracy. Everybody's doing their thing, right? But you want to get everybody on the mathematical, because when you get everybody on the mathematical standard, then there's no argument anymore. There might be some slight disagreement, but there won't be an argument because everybody's going to agree that 3 + 4 = 7. Nobody's going to argue with that, right? But they might disagree on how to approach it because everybody has different perspectives. They might say, well, I think I want to use 6 + 1. Or I think I want to use 5 + 2. Or I think I want to use 9 - 2. Still 7. So nobody's going to argue, right? They say, okay, but that's your choice. They're not going to argue that that's wrong. What you're saying is wrong, right? They're going to say, well, that's your choice. That's not my choice. You understand? But there's no argument because we're all going to see, we all have different perspectives. See? You understand? So when you're doing that, so you doing the other or other 4, then you moving, right? You generating vibrations that's going to affect other people because we're all connected, right? So as you're doing that and you expressing it, but not just expressing it, but doing it, then you also affecting their motion. It's like a wheel within a wheel, gears. So eventually, when they come around, when they start moving, thinking consequence, because the consequence is based on this. See, once you start making mathematically, then you can start dealing with the rest of these things. See, and when you start thinking mathematically, that's another way, because that's connect all of these. Start thinking mathematically right away. If a thought comes in, right, that's not mathematical, then you can defend against it because you won't deal with it. Because you say, it ain't mathematical, so I don't want to deal with it. So that ties in with torque, because torque just eliminates them all together. See, so and you go out here, and the angel is your weapon for this time, right? So you go out there and you're expressing it, but angel, you're expressing it, but those things is your example. So if when you get someone on, so I think consequence, then all those things goes away. So that means now there's no conflict with that person. You're moving in sync with that person, right? So now you're at peace, right? So you're increasing your realm of peace Because the more you do that, the more realm of peace the bigger your realm becomes. Because everybody's in sync with you. So there's no, you know what I'm saying? You move, but in democracy, everybody's always banging, banging, doing their own thing, right? So there's no peace there. Because I wanted, you got to deal with people. Your next door neighbor, he wants to play his music at 1 o'clock in the morning. Bam, bam, bam. I don't want to hear that. See? His wife want to come around. She got a whole bottle of perfume on. I don't want to smell that. You see? You see what I'm saying? The daughters coming out there with no clothes on, just I don't want to see that. But hey, I'm free. It's free. Cut out what I want to do. But you got to deal with that. And you say, somebody just blow it off. No, you're not blowing it off. Because that means you're being affected by that and it's killing you. That's why somebody said hypertension and everything else, or high blood pressure. Because you're just tolerating something that's against you. Anytime you tolerate something that's against you, it's putting stress on your brothers and sisters. It's going to kill you eventually. So hopefully you understand, brothers and sisters. See, their answer, but once they get you over to religion, then all that stuff on the left hand goes away. Consequence, torque, energy, because when you get you off from religion, no math involved there. So all you got to do is just believe. So now they can tell you, well, believe drugs work, believe capitalists, believe gluttony. I mean, they get you into that once they got to get you over to religion, get you off the mathematical standard. But once you get a person back over the other side, consequence, all that stuff goes away. And then they can start applying the other ones. And each one connects to the other one. So each one works together. See? So that's hard. So hard is out there, you going and explaining, talking. I mean, first of all, you got to walk the walk and talk. The more you do it, the more positive vibration you can do. Because right now, we've been bombarded with all these negative vibrations. And so it's killing our people. They don't understand they're walking a tightrope. See? And they have no guidance and no skills to do it. See, we was walking a tightrope over in this country 400 years. And we was falling off it because we didn't know how to do it. We didn't even realize we was walking a tightrope. So we was being hung, killed, raped, and everything else, right? Because we kept falling off because we had no sense of balance or anything. Farah came and gave us the first sense of balance. And those that followed him, right, they started walking it. And Elijah Muhammad, what he did was, it was toward a tightrope like, say, the rope was walking like a mile, like an inch. And we got a 400-mile, 40 stories above, right? And it's 40-story building. We that high up, walked tightrope from one building to another was 400 miles away, 400 years. And we have no skills, anything. So, and the wind is blowing like crazy. Who's going to survive that? It's going to be hard to survive it, right? You're afraid, the wind blowing, right? You have a sense of direction. You don't know which way to go or anything. See, so people just falling off. See, some of them was able to catch the rope, and then they hand walking. You see, and then Farah came and says, okay, how you live, strict the law and everything. You be able to get on it and able to navigate, able to walk it slowly, but you're able to walk it. Then Elijah came and changed it from like 1 inch, made it like 5 inches with his economic program, so it's easy to walk it. See, it still was hard, but it wasn't as hard because now, it was wider, but still had to walk it. And then Farrakhan came and just made it small again, got rid of all that. So now people start falling off, just like his people, like this Noah Green thing. That was one of his people. He fell right off. With Scientology, all that kind of crap, just fell right off to his death. Some fall to their death, some fall off. They start hanging on. They catch the rope, but they were hand walking it. See, until Suleiman would come and teach you how to walk it, run it, not just walk it, run it, without any fear of falling. See, because he taking you home. Because remember, we had the destination of the building. That's the promised land. And you got to walk that walk to get to the promised land. See, so he's giving you the 5 pillars so you can run it. See, with no fear. See, perfect sense of balance. You run it, bam. So man, these dudes are, look at them. Man, he's sprinting. See, Elijah Muhammad shows you how to walk it. Now he's trying to sprint with no fear of anything once you apply these. See, and then you can bring your other brother. They see you, and they grab onto you. See, and they start doing so they can sprint. So that's what Hajj is. See, but you save your brothers and sisters. See, so everybody's in sync. See, but their answer to that is totally just the opposite, destroy us. Because if you got the other side, you're gonna fall off to your death. And we see our brothers and sisters fall different. They got this crazy ideas, Black Panthers, right? They're gonna take it by force. Where are you gonna buy the guns from? See, you're gonna buy the gun from Massa, and then when you run out of ammunition, you're gonna go back to Massa. Hey, Massa, can you give me some bullets so I can reload, so I can fight you? See, Black Lives Matter, same thing. See, they pushing democracy and communism, all kinds of stuff. See, which is not, it's all the same garbage. See, so you got the demons out there like Farrakhan, religion, Scientology, Sunni. There's no mathematical basis behind it whatsoever. Sunnism is not mathematical, but it's, he's telling you a lie. Hey, it's mathematics. No, Elijah Muhammad said mathematics, Islam is mathematics. Show me the mathematics behind Sunnism. So we under attack, brothers and sisters. The demons are our worst enemy right now. They're the worst, first ones that Suleiman had to deal with, because they're the ones, see, first of all, before you can really go out and deal with the external enemies, you got to do the internal enemies. And right now, internal enemies. And right now, we are suffering from a cancer. That's what demons are, cancer, and we almost taking us down. See, our body infested with a cancer, and Suleiman is the only one who can take and remove it. He's got to do radical surgery, because what is cancer? Cancer is a cell that has went bad, it's corrupted, right, and it's attacking the other cells. But it's smart enough to cover itself, so when antibodies come, it can't wreck it, doesn't see it as a bad cell, because it looks like all other cells. It looks like it. It looks like all the healthy cells. It looks like it. See, the demons look like us, walk like us, talk like us, but they ain't us. They master's children. This black face. See, so they come in and corrupt the rest of our children. They come in, you see them all over TV. When you look on TV, remember, those, on the plantation, we still on the plantation in America, right? But Massa, right, when he raped the women, those that was his children, those are the ones he brought into the house. I would call them house Negroes. Those were born in the house. And they had the same idea Massa had. Only problem was they wanted to be recognized as master children. That's what their problem was. They want master to recognize them. But they didn't have no love for you out in the field. They definitely want to go out there. If they came out there, was out there to trick you, just lie to you, to spy on you. And sometimes use them to beat you. See? And then they be the preachers. They're telling you love master, work hard for master, you're going to get your reward when you die. Those are all demons. All demons. See? The master used to get next to you. So now, right now, we still on plantation. And now you see all the, what you see on TV and the media in Hollywood, that's them. Those are the only ones that master will allow to be in those positions. That's how you know they're all demons. Because they're not pushing your program. See, they're not, definitely don't get anybody that's talking Elijah Muhammad's program. They ain't gonna let anybody up. So why is nobody in there like that? They won't let anybody anywhere near. You start talking about that, you will not be on there. Look at that little thing that Copenhagen did. This little thing, he's just a little protest, and they shut him down. When you see in media and politics and all that kind of stuff, those are just master's house. Their whole purpose is to, remember, they're cancer to us. They only want you around, only want come around when they need your votes and whatever. But they're pushing abortion and all that kind of stuff. How does that work? How does that work? If democracy is about majority rule, how does it make sense for you to take and go and vote by way of Planned Parenthood and aborting your child, which was built by Margaret Sanger, her stated purpose was to eliminate black people. But Democratic Party, they promote that, and most black folks are voting for it. So that shows you their mind is going. You see, because it makes no sense. They're behind the party. They're sending their jobs overseas, the electoral jobs to India, to give them industrial jobs to China, and the agricultural jobs to Mexico. See, but if you don't have your mind, see, and that's what's going on here. So anyway, brothers and sisters, I hope you understand this. This is a Redux, right, to the fourth pillar. right? So I'm gonna upload this and point out that's Redux, right? So I think it was, the other one wasn't that clear. Some people got a little confused, see, because I put the effects of gluttony instead of actually putting the gluttony there, because I really talked about it when I talked about 1 meal a day, 1 meal the other day, so I just make it clear. Okay, brothers, just hope you understand. Assalamu alaikum.